So let's get started. Let's kick off and really get into this subject. So, Joe, as you think about kind of what aspects of our post-COVID plans should we be looking to consult with our diverse communities on? So as you start to look at what's currently happening in the world, using your insights and your experiences from consulting with companies, what are some of the things that we should be looking at?
I think, as you mentioned, Hayden, we're living in unprecedented times at the moment, and that very much translates in a commercial world to quite a lot of unease. People are needing quite a lot of reassurance. And I think when you pick apart the difference between diversity and inclusion, the way I often explain that is that in a business, diversity can be an accident and inclusion is a positive action. So you may have a diverse group of colleagues, but the effort and the way in which that you are truly inclusive is very different. And I think that's something that needs to be remembered here in terms of what we're doing to reassure people, what we're doing to be able to link in with people and engage with people, particularly when people are working in an agile way. So there's a real business case for that as well, especially going forward, because inclusion isn't just about doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's doing it because you can gain thought leadership, you can gain higher performance, higher engagement, and what have you. And so I think it's really important that we consult with the people who are having what I call the lived experience of whichever community they belong to or whatever characteristics they have. And you'll hear me talk about lived experience rather than experience, because I think it's easy to say that you have experience of working around topics to do with diversity and inclusion, but the lived experience, both prior to working for an organisation and whilst working for an organisation, when you have a certain characteristic, is really important to tap into. So I think people need to be able to consider cost and time effective ways to consult with people. You know, does everybody have access to certain remote technology and what have you at the moment? If they are in the business, what are we doing to be able to provide environments where they can be consulted with? And then what is people's willingness to consult as well, especially with things that we hear in the news. People may be quite concerned about why an employer is going to be asking certain questions of them. So it's really important that we lay the case out of why we want this information, how we're going to use the information, making sure that we're checking people's understanding of what it is that we're asking for, but also that we're checking our understanding of what it is that they're telling us needs to happen. Being able to translate certain post-COVID strategies, if your organisational strategy or your people strategy has been developed as a result of what's happened, making sure that that's translatable to the communities that you want to consult with, and making sure they know that it's not just a this is what we're doing, it's actually asking rather than telling, and making sure that they know what the longer term plans are, so that this isn't just a one-off and any sort of lip service. I would say over consult where you can. If you can find a cost and time effective way of doing it, and you can explain the purpose and almost give people an opt-out option, then over consult. I'd also say under promise and over deliver, because again, people don't want to be promised things that are going to happen, even if you have all the best will in the world, and then see that it's not happening. So you also need to think about what are the follow-ups, what are the timeframes that you're going to get back to people, even if it's to tell them what and why things can't happen. You know, that's really, really important. And you can also consider the thought leadership that can come from that. You know, consult with people about what they think you should be doing post-COVID and what they're hearing from their colleagues and communities that could really make a difference. So I think particularly when it comes to your people plans, but also the people who are closest to your processes and do it day in, day out, make sure that you are consulting with them, or at least that you have representatives in the business who can reach out to them.